Hey, it's Rob and welcome to Axel's Garage. We are out here with Robbie's K5 or V10, depending on how technical you want to get. And because it's been running so good, and if you haven't caught those videos, check them out. It's the whole Crank No Start series. I don't know what order they're going up in, but the thing is running rock solid, and it was a pretty interesting fix that took a long time to figure out. But I'm sure it's a problem that other people might be having in the future as well. So, in a previous video, we got this brush guard on. It's a CUCV style brush guard, and we got a CUCV front bumper on it. And what happened is a guy that's got like a little K5 boneyard on his property with a lot of CUCV military M1009 or 8s and 9s, pickups, blazers, all of the square body military stuff. So we went to him, and we got a rear bumper with the pintle hitch. We got the front bumper with the brush guard and the brackets that come through the bumper, the little lights that go in the corners of the front and rear bumper, and those lights are some kind of weird special light that they use for when they're following each other in the dark, so they can tell where the vehicle is in front of them, the vehicle behind them. They really, you can't, even if you wired them, they're 24-volt lights, but even if you wired them, you really wouldn't be able to see them. So we got something planned for those holes in the bumper. Only worked on the front, we haven't done the back yet. But where we're at here is we put in the brackets for the front shackles, the recovery shackles, and we put the brackets in which spaced out where the factory civilian tow hooks go. So we had to get some longer hardware, and we did that in a previous video when we were installing those brackets, the civilian tow or recovery hooks and the front hitch, and we did some videos on that, and we had to space things out. So now what we have to do is, there's these brackets, let me grab one, these brackets here, which are the factory CUCV brackets, and these are going to go in, slide into the hole in the bumper, and they get 2 bolts going through them. So now the problem that we ran into was the factory bolts no longer fit because we were sandwiching a lot more stuff in between the frame, the bracket, and this, because of those hooks, the civilian tow hooks. So we got some longer hardware. I'm hoping it's the right length because it's been a long time since we stopped working on this, and I bought the bolts a long time ago. I had them in a bag, and I found the bag, which was good. But when we bought this stuff, we didn't get the shackles. On these, there is a shackle that's supposed to go on them, and it goes through this hole here. And it's a regular, shackle. I just call these shackles. I don't know what you call them technically. People call them D-rings. They're really not D-rings, but they're shackles. So now there's shackles. So the guy had shackles. Didn't have them with the bumper. I could have bought shackles from the guy, but they were all in pretty crusty condition from laying out in the field over the years, and piles of parts and backs of beds of old trucks. And I'm like, you know what, they're all old and crusty. I'm gonna have to refinish them anyway. Shackles aren't that expensive. I could go online and order some shackles. Well, that became a problem with the shackles. Should have got the shackles from the guy, and he's not nearby where I could have went and got him. We actually picked all this stuff up coming back home from vacation. We went away on vacation, my wife and I, and traveling back through, we were within an hour of this guy's place, and we detoured and got the stuff. So going there is not that convenient. So I said, I can get shackles. This is the problem, is a lot of the shackles just don't fit. They're not wide enough to fit on the thing. Now if I go to the next shackle bigger, it's still not wide enough. So you got to get a shackle big enough to fit over this. The problem is, every step you go, every time you go a little bigger on a shackle, not only does the shackle itself get bigger, but the center pin on the shackle gets bigger. So now you run into the problem where the shackle just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now when you have a shackle that fits over this, the center pin is so big it doesn't fit through the hole. So if you're real keen and can see that hole, it's not perfectly round anymore. And the reason why it's not perfectly round anymore is because we used a Dremel and a carbide wheel to open this hole up to the shaft size that the shackle is, to get the shackle that would fit this. So we had to get a shackle that was at least big enough to go over here, which made our shaft size too big. So we had to open this hole up to be able to fit the shaft in, and they are ridiculously big shackles, which is just going to be perfect for Robbie's truck here. All right, so I got a bag of bolts. There's my piece, here it is. Now this needs to go in like this. And it should slide in. It is tight, and I'm guessing that the multiple layers of paint on everything is the reason why it's so tight. Wow, that is tight. Let me try the other one. That's just as tight. All right, so this is supposed to slide all the way in. All right. Now I am definitely in the back hole, so you see. Bolt go in from that side or from this side? All right, it turns out the hitch is in the way. So now we got to remove the hitch, slide it back, put these bolts in this way, and hopefully the hitch will fit with the bolts going shit. It wasn't supposed to work out like that. All right, let me get this hitch out and we'll see what we gotta do. So an hour later or so, maybe even longer, because I had to take the hitch out because the bolts that go through here were hitting the side plates of the hitch. So I had to unbolt the hitch, slide it back, throw the bolts in this way, and then able to bolt these up, then slide the hitch back into position and bolt the civilian tow hooks and the hitch back up. And there's not a lot of room in there, so it was like an eighth turn at a time. My arms up in the air, pain in the ass. Anyway, we get now to the ridiculous shackles. Let me put them up next to my face. Massive, ridiculous, and just perfect, because what the deal is every time you get wider on that shackle, guess what happens? The whole shackle gets bigger. So these are the only ones that I could get. The one size smaller than these don't fit over the thing. And what are these? Like crazy. I don't even remember what it was. 8.5 tons. 8.5 ton shackles. So we need to put them in with these big bolts that get held in with a nut and a cotter pin. I put some rubber O-rings on them to take up any slop so you don't hear them banging around, and we'll bang them in and see what they look like. So I'm really not sure. Should we put them in? The bolt's gonna have to go this way. So what if I put O-ring fell out. A little bit of a juggle getting the O-rings on the shaft. Just going to be a hair too thick. Oh, I might be able to squeeze it in there with it. See. I mean, this is just because I'm trying to get these O-rings in here to keep them from banging around. It's completely unnecessary, but I do a lot of things that are unnecessary. Alright, so maybe just the O-rings on the outside, the inside. No, see, I'd like to take up that slot there. So you know what if I go with just a little bigger O-ring on the inside, diameter-wise, a little bigger in diameter. And that goes right in, nice and easy. If I can get it. Take the cotter pin. I could deal with that. Well, now that they're on, they don't look as massive as they looked in my hand and next to my head. They actually look like they fit size-wise. Even though the CUCV Shackles were a lot smaller, those are not only a little bit bigger than the civilian Shackles that are tucked away hiding behind it. So I think size-wise, it's a good mix. The O-rings was just an added thing because, you know me, I go a little overboard with everything, but the O-rings will definitely stop any rattling. And I think we're looking good. Next, we got to hit those lights that go on the bumpers. We got some LEDs. We're going to try to retrofit a bracket and use them as marker lights and get the whole front of his truck. So I like the way it looks. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think the big dummy's going to be happy with it. I'm going to snap a picture and send it to him. And that's it today from Axel's Garage. As always, thanks for watching.